The apartment was perfect. Sunlight streamed through the large bay window, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. The rent was suspiciously low for such a spacious one-bedroom in the city center. But Sarah, desperate to escape her cramped studio, ignored the tiny voice whispering why. The elderly landlord, Mr. Henderson, handed her the keys with a hand that trembled slightly. Been vacant a while, he murmured, avoiding her eyes. Just needs a bit of ... airing out. The chill hit Sarah the moment she stepped inside. With her first box, it was an tea, just the absence of heating. It was a deep, penetrating cold-scented square, lay in the middle of the living room, right before the bay window. Like stepping into an invisible freezer, she shivered, rubbing her arms. Old buildings, she reasoned, drafts. The first night was quiet, unnervingly sure. The city sounds seemed muffled, distant. Sarah fell asleep, exhausted, but woke repeatedly, convinced she heard soft footsteps pacing the living room. Each time she checked, the room was empty, but that in silvery moonlight, the cold spot remained stubbornly frosty even when the radiator hissed nearby. The sippy tea lady ended on the third night. Sarah was reading on the sofa, a blanket pulled tight against the living room's persistent chill. When the air pressure changed, a wave of intense cold washed over her, stealing her breath. The single lamp flickered violently, then died, plunging the room into near darkness. Moonlight streamed through the window, casting long, distorted shadows. One shadow detached itself from the others near the cold spot. It was indistinct at first, a denser patch of darkness. Then it coalesced, the shape of a woman, tall and thin, dressed in what looked like a long, old-fashioned nightgown. Her features were blurred, smudged like charcoal on wet paper, except for her eyes, deep, hollow pits that seemed to absorb the feeble light. She didn't move towards Sarah. She stood, rigid in the center of the cold spot, facing the bay window, her head tilted slightly, as if listening intently. Paralyzed, Sarah watched. The figure didn't breathe, didn't blink. She simply stood, radiating despair and that bone, deep cold. After an eternity that lasted mere minutes, the figure dissolved like smoke caught in a breeze. The lamp flickered back on. Sarah spent the night hard laid on her bed, every light blazing. The woman returned almost nightly, always standing in the cold spot, always facing the window. Listening, Sarah stopped sleeping. She researched the building, an old tenement, no recorded deaths, nothing unusual. She tried sage salt lines, even a nervous visit from a skeptical friend, who felt the cold but saw nothing. The friend left pale and never returned. The landlord stopped answering calls. Fear could lead into a desperate need to understand why the window. Sarah thought one buried on, watching the first light touch the glass. What is she listening for? She examined the window itself. Old, thick glass, the wood frame painted shut. Decades ago, nothing unusual. Below, the quiet alleyway. Then one rain-lashed night, the figure appeared again, more defiant than ever. Sarah saw the desperate tension in the blurred shoulders, the way the head strained towards the glass, the hollow eyes fixed not on the window but through it, down into the alley below. Her memory, sharp and unbeaten, pierced Sarah's exhaustion. Mr. Henderson's trembling hands, his avoidance of her questions about the previous tenant, driven by a terror that overawed sense. Sarah did the unthinkable. As the figure stood radiating cold and despair, Sarah slowly, silently moved not away, but towards her. She stopped just outside the biting cold radiating from the spectre. The air crackled with unseen energy. Sarah followed the ghost's unwavering gaze down into the dark, wet alley. Nothing, just rain, slick cobblestones, and overflowing bins. Yet the ghost stared, her spectral form vibrating with a silent, agonized yearning. What? Sarah whispered, her voice cracking. What are you listening for? The silence pressed in, heavier than ever. The ghost didn't react. Then Sarah heard it, faint, almost drowned by the rain, but unmistakable now. She was listening with the ghost, not just hearing the rain itself. It came from deep within the alley shadows, near the old disused coal chute, partially hidden by overflowing bins. A sound, faint, rhythmic, muffled, a baby's cry, choked, weakened, desperate. The sound echoed, makes when it's been crying for every very long time and has almost given up hope. Sarah's blood turned to ice colder than the ghost. Its presence, she remembered. The landlord's evasiveness. The building's history as a tenement. Rumors. Whispered decades ago of ill mother. Destitute, unstable, and a missing infant. Dismissed as tragedy never solved. The ghost wasn't just standing there. She was straining to hear the one sound that mattered. The sound that anchored her to this spot of ultimate loss. Her child. Lost not just in death, but here somewhere below. The figure slowly turned its head. Not towards the window. Not towards the alley. It turned its smudge, yet hollow-eyed face directly towards Sarah. The spear in those pits shifted, focused, intensified. It was an malice Sarah saw, but a recognition and unbearable, soul-crushing pleading. The cold wasn't just around the spot anymore. It seeped into Sarah's bones, into her lungs, making each breath a shard of ice. The weak, phantom cry from the alley below seemed to grow louder in her mind, synchronizing with the silent scream radiating from the figure now fully facing her. The ghost took no step, yet Sarah felt its presence loom, filling her vision, those bottomless eyes demanding an answer Sarah couldn't give, holding her responsible for the unending agony, echoing from the stones below, and the spectre before her. The lamp flickered, once, twice, and went out, in the sudden, absolute darkness, pierced only by the phantom wail, and the crushing weight of the ghost's gaze. Sarah understood the true meaning of the cold spot. It wasn't just where the ghost stood. It was the void left behind, and the ghost wasn't listening for the cry anymore. She was waiting for someone else to hear it, to understand, to find what was lost. And Sarah, now frozen in more than just fear, realized the desperate plea in those hollow eyes was now fixed solely on her. The cold wasn't just in the room anymore. It was inside her, spreading with the terrible knowledge and the echo in an answering red cry from the dark stones below. The silence after the lamp died was empty. It was filled with the unbearable weight of a mother's seasonal grief and her chilling, silent demand.